We are talking about the subject of Dr. Ghani's life with Meher Baba. Earlier, I had talked about the prayers Baba used to have before taking up a new phase of his work. Say, if he's starting new life, then he will have the prayers of different religions, 4 religions recited by different people. And when this new life was to be started, Baba asked his own Mandali people to recite some of the verses from the religious books. And for Zoroastrians, our Kekobad was asked to recite some verses from the Avastha. Then Kale Mama was asked to read something from the Gita, Bhagavad Gita. And then Dr. Donkin was asked to read from Bible. And lastly, I think Khan Sahib was asked to recite from Quran. Usually Baba used to have these recitations from different people whoever is available there. But I have never seen or never read about Baba asking Dr. Ghani to recite some surah from Quran. I have never read anywhere, and I have never heard also, and I have never seen also. I was just wondering why when his own man, Dr. Ghani, so close to him, was available, Baba would ask other people to recite from a religious book. But instead, Baba would ask Ghani to recite some prayers which he himself had composed. Baba has composed on various occasions. And invariably, Baba would ask Ghani to recite those prayers. These prayers were composed according to the situation, according to the cause or whatever Baba is undertaking. According to that, these prayers were composed by Baba himself, and he always asked Dr. Ghani to recite those prayers. I was just wondering why Baba is not asking the traditional prayers to be read by Dr. Ghani, and why he is asking only to recite the prayers which Baba has composed according to the different phases of his work. I was just thinking on very much on this point, and the answer which I got, I'll tell you afterwards, a little bit afterwards. If I forget, please don't forget to remind me about that. But then let me explain. Let me admit that I had known very little about Sufism. Actually, Sufism, that word never was not known to me when I came in Baba's contract. And this continued up to 1952 when in Myrtle Beach, in the Lagoon cabin, Baba had a meeting with IBDUs, and Francis Brabazon had also come from Australia, and they had a talk on the future of these future activities of the Sufism in US, and thereafter that Sufism reoriented came into existence. This information I got afterwards, Before that, I never knew anything about Sufism. We know that word I had not heard about that word also. Now, I was just all the time thinking that Sufism is something, even thereafter, I was thinking that Sufism is a part of Islam, or one which has evolved from Islam. But once I read about Baba saying that Zoroaster was the first Sufi, that surprised me actually, because it is quite strange to my understanding, as I thought that Sufi was very much close to Islam, and Baba is saying that Zoroaster was the first Sufi. So this has created a big problem in my mind. In 1955, when Sahib asked me from Pakistan, a very great shire, when he came and participated in that 55 gathering, 55 Sabha gathering, he had introduced his own composition, or we came to know about that composition. Meher Baba Khutub Alam Mazhar Noor Khuda, मर्द हक इंसान कालिम इंसान कामिल ताजदार दोसरा. This composition, then I read about it, but I understood very little about it, practically nil about that. And then some of my friends in my office, they were Mohammedans. I just took that piece of paper on which this poetry was written, and I showed to a couple of my friends who were Mohammedans. They simply just shocked up that they said, "Don't know, we are not interested in this sort of a thing. We denied all these compositions or anything of this sort. We are very fanatic Muslims. We don't believe in all these things except Allah. We don't or believe in anything else than Allah." So I was a little disappointed. Thereafter, I asked another fellow who was also a Muslim. When we read that whole poetry, and he just kept on looking at me very silently, and just told me, "Ahir Sahib, this is wonderful poetry. The whoever has composed it, it is very surprising that the person from Pakistan, a shair from Pakistan, has adopted this thought in his life, in his mind, in his heart, and he has written so much. I do not know anything about Meher Baba, but then whatever he has written about Meher Baba is really wonderful." Then I told him that I am a follower of Meher Baba since my early age, and all my family members are Baba's devotees. And then he said that a friend of mine said that you preserve this paper. It's very valuable composition which he has composed these poetry. But then even then, I was not getting correct information about Sufism, what is Sufism, how it is, whether it is very much closely connected with Islam or it is a part of Islam, or all that confusion was still there in my mind. And for that matter, one book came to my hand. It was a book in Marathi. In that, the author he was a very knowledgeable author, very impartial, very broad thinking person. He had written that after passing away of Prophet Muhammad, there were two sections in his followers. they were divided into two sections. The first part is the fanatic followers of Paigambar, or whatever was told by Paigambar, that Allah is the greatest and there is no greater than Allah. And so on and so forth. This was one section of the society who I mean, because the advent of Prophet Muhammad had just happened, these people had a upper hand in the society, and because of that, they started dictating the whole community as to imposing their own understanding on the people. And they started living a very luxurious life because of their upper hand, very close to Muhammad Paigambar, and very strict followers of Allah. They thought that they have upper hand over the whole society of Muslims, and then they started living very luxurious life. But that other section was there who had a different thought process. They started what we call an inner search of oneself. And for that matter, they started living a very common, very simple life. They used to wear very coarse clothes. Very coarse clothes. That coarse cloth is called suf. That is what explanation was given in that book. The coarse cloth is called suf. And those who wear those clothes, they were Sufis. That was the interpretation given in that book. But somehow I just could not fully understand. And then I thought that these people who have adopted this inner search, they may be different from the other Islam, other Muslims. I was serving in Mumbai then, and I was staying in a colony, in a government colony, which was quite crowded colony. So many, all surroundings were very crowded place, and it was frequented by so many people. So there was one gentleman from Muslim community. He was attending a dargah in Mahim. Whenever he used to sell cloth pieces or bedspreads or some such articles from door to door. He used to carry that on his shoulders, and then he will visit door to door and then sell those articles. This person was very much attached to my house, because whenever he happens to pass by that road, he will climb up my house was on the fourth floor, and he will climb up. He was quite a elderly person. He will climb up there and sit there for about 5-10 minutes. My wife will very lovingly receive him. There would be at times there will be my children returning from school, or there may be some of my in-laws. So she will give him water, she will make him sit, and she will offer him tea also. He once said, while going away, in one of his visits, while going away, he looked all around and he expressed before my wife that your husband seems to be of a Sufi thought. Your husband seems to be of a Sufi thought. I do not know whether how much she understood about the Sufi thought. But when I returned home from my office, she told me that such and such person had come, and he inquired about this picture of Mir Baba, and then she expressed that that you pointing to me, you belong to Sufi thought. I also didn't understand what he meant by that Sufi thought. But thereafter, once he came there, and when I was at home, and when I discussed the whole thing about Sufism and Islam, what he told me is that there is no connection whatsoever in Islam and Sufi. They are altogether different. And one more important thing he said was, where Sufism ends, where Islam ends, Sufism starts. It's a very significant, a very important, a very profound statement he made. And then he further explained that in Islam, Islam gives you the code of conduct, which contains that 5 times the namaz, then preserving some portion of your income for the use of poor people through the masjid, and then observing fast during Ramzan. All these code of conduct, Islam teaches that, and that is the end of that. Beyond that, it doesn't go. And people also do not like to go beyond that. So a person realizing God, that idea is never in Islam. It is only Sufism, that idea of murid and murshid, or master or disciple, that idea is there. And it is only in Sufism that they accept man becoming, man realizing God. This I came to know after that. So a thought comes to my mind that Ghani was of that thought. Ghani was more of the Sufism. And if we recall these olden days of Manzil-e-Meem, it is reported there that during night time, Ghani used to sit with Baba for up to midnight. After retiring to the bed, up to midnight, Ghani will be giving guard. And thereafter, Ramju will be there. Ramju will replace Ghani. But what Ghani used to do there? Ghani used to massage Baba's legs, and then they used to have long discussions on Sufism, Sufi stories, Sufi saints, Sufi terms and terminology and all that. They used to have elaborate discussion on that. And perhaps this may be the reason why Baba was not allowing or what asking Dr. Ghani to recite the religious prayers. Perhaps Baba wanted to keep him aside from the traditional prayers. It may be the reason. And thereafter, whenever Baba wanted some prayers to be recited of his own, then Baba would ask the Ghani to recite. I have noted down some prayers, and I will explain you the situation and the prayers also. I am audible now? Ganesh, you can hear me now?
Yes, uncle. We can hear you very clearly.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Now this was during the meeting for the before starting the new life. That new life meeting was held in some time in August 1949. And the whole way of life in that new life was explained to everyone. There were people, invitees. Baba had invited some specific people for this meeting, and they all had come. And then Baba explained the whole procedure of the new life, whole how it will how they will lead the new life. And that just after that, what Baba did after all these people, when they understood about these conditions of the new life, the disciplines of the new life, then Baba had given 1 hour for them to decide whether they would like to accompany Baba on this new life. Baba had given only 1 hour. Now just imagine, you have your family, you have your responsibility, you have your job, you have your business, you have your properties, so many things, but you have to leave everything and go with Baba. Go with Baba for what? For nothing. No material, no spiritual, just because Baba says, come with me, you have to follow him, that's all. That is the only relation in Baba and you. He asks you to follow him, you are just following him. It had created a lot of commotion in the whole society, and Ganyas mentioned in one of his songs that people were talking so many things about us who have decided to go with Baba. Anyway, so many people have given yes, but then ultimately there were 16 people, 16 male and 4 women. So after this meeting was over and after everything was settled, Baba asked for reading the 4 religious prayers from the religious books. And thereafter, Baba asked Dr. Ghani to recite, to say, may God give buddhi. Buddhi is sense of discrimination. May God give buddhi to Mandali. May God give buddhi to Mandali and full shuddhi, that is perfect awareness. May God give full shuddhi to Baba. It's a very strange prayer, no? It sounds very strange. May God give buddhi, that is sense of discrimination, to the Mandali and full shuddhi, perfect awareness to Baba. In the same meeting, verses of religions where books were read out. Kekobad, Avastha, Donkin, Crucifixion of Jesus from the Gospels of St. Matthew, Khak Sahib from Quran, Kale Baba from Bhagavad Gita. And at the close of the ceremony, Baba placed all the books on a table. He asked Dr. Ghani to place his both hands on all the 4 books. And then this Baba asked this prayer to be recited. That prayer follows now. What is the prayer? May God help Baba to make definitely this step which he is taking, to give up everything and irrevocably to go away, so that from October 16th, when he enters the new life, there will be no turning back. You followed? Should I repeat it again? I just repeat it. May God help Baba to make definitely this step which he is taking, to give up everything and irrevocably to go away, so that from October 16, when he enters the new life, there will be no turning back. This was the prayer which was God recited by from Dr. Ghani, placing his two palms on all the four books. Then their first stay was at Belgaum. That was the period of labor, and this was for about this was from 20th October up to 11th November 1949, and thereafter on 12th of November they started for Banaras. Therefore, they went to Banaras, and on the way, Baba used to tease Dr. Ghani by several remarks. On one occasion, referring to the beggarly life they were going to live, Baba had stated that the only cash they had was poverty in Ghani's pocket. The only cash they had was the poverty in Ghani's pocket. See the teasing. See, the condition of the new life, they were very tedious and very strict and very, I would say, I cannot say boring, but then very tedious. And perhaps the situation was that people can hardly laugh. But then, because of such remarks by Baba, such teasing from both the sides, that new life had become quite tolerable for the people, bearable for the people. Now, next prayer which I come to is similarly out of fun. One day, Baba instructed Dr. Ghani to greet Baba each morning by uttering "Hi, my Thai." Hi, my Thai. Also, at the time of retiring, Ghani was asked to repeat a sing-song way few rhythmic lines in Urdu. And the meaning of those lines are, how differently have passed the days of old life. Today has passed too somehow. Tomorrow be damned. We are not in the least bothered by what happens next. This was the four lines that Ghani was asked to recite when they are retiring for a night arrest. Now, thereafter, when they were at Banaras, on the occasion of the first Bhiksha, they had gone to Dr. Nath's place. Dr. Nath had made all the arrangements for their stay or for that food and everything. So the first Bhiksha was taken from Dr. Nath's house. Only his family was present. None else was allowed to be there, present there. That time also Baba asked Dr. Ghani to recite the following prayer. And what was that prayer? Today, the 24th November, is a very significant day for me in the new life. I ask the most merciful God to forgive me and my companions for any shortcomings and any conscious or unconscious mistakes done singly or wholly or towards each other or personally or impulsively relating to the conditions or otherwise, and also for any lusty, angry, greedy, or old life thoughts or desires. For all these things, Baba has sought forgiveness from God. Remember always that Baba was a ordinary seeker. He was in the role of ordinary seeker, relinquishing his old life status of all-knowing God. Further he says, I ask God to forgive us all, not merely by way of ceremony, I ask God to forgive us all, not merely by ceremony, but as a wholehearted pardon. As a wholehearted pardon. That was the prayer Baba got recited from Dr. Ghani. And thereafter, he went along with Eraj for taking Bhiksha. Thereafter, Baba goes to Sarnath, that is Lord Buddha's place, and the underground passage. They were sitting. They sat there. Baba asked everybody to wear langoti or loin cloths and sit there. Baba had given a paper to each one on which a prayer was written. That prayer was to be recited by every, that was to be mentally repeated by everyone, every companion who was sitting there on loincloth. But thereafter, after this process, Baba asked them to wear their clothes, and therefore they stood in a row. The Baba shook hands with each one with so much of happiness. And thereafter, Baba asked Dr. Ghani to say loudly 7 times what is the words. Ho gaya, ho gaya, ho gaya. Means, what is meant by ho gaya? Ho gaya means whatever was decided has been done, or has happened, or has been accomplished. That is the meaning of ho gaya. Thereafter, all they go to Moradabad, and of course the other incidents which I would not elaborate on that, but only certain things which I would like to mention here. That from there, via they went to Najib Baba. They placed Najib Baba quite about many miles from there. They went to Najibabad, but before going to Najibabad, Baba sent Dr. Ghani, Adi, and that Baba Das in advance for seeking a place for residence for 3 days. They were to stay there for 3 days, and thereafter seeking a suitable place for their stay. Then somebody offering food in Bhiksha to all these party. Bhiksha of lunch, dinner, and morning tea and evening tea. This much they have to offer in Bhiksha. And thereafter, they have to offer traveling expenses, not in money, but tickets. They have to purchase tickets for all these people up to from there to Dehradun. These were the conditions. And these 3 people, Dr. Ghani, Adi, and Baba Das, when they reached, they were not supposed to. They were given some money for traveling expenses, but they were not supposed to spend a single pie for their own food. That food was to be carried with them from some other place, from the place of start. And they were to travel by train. And during the train journey, they felt so much hungry that the whole food was exhausted. And then when they reached Najibabad, they were so very exhausted and tired that Ghani was feeling sick, and Baba Das also was unable to walk. And the only man left was Adi, who was to go in search of place for stay for 3 days, and then food and all that arrangements. And Adi took a tanga and he roamed about the whole city, but nobody was found to with all these conditions to be fulfilled. And ultimately, Adi was so very exhausted. But then the Tagawala was curious. He said, "Why? What actually want? Why you are, running from here to there and there to there, and contacting so many people? What is your problem? Please tell me whether I can help you." And when Adi said these conditions, he said, "You could have told him earlier. I would have taken you a proper person." Thereafter, he took Adi to a person. I forgot his name, but then that man, he offered to give food in bhiksha, in the form of bhiksha. He agreed to that. Thereafter, the next problem was about their rail tickets. The Tangara take him to another person. That person also, when he came to know that these people are going to Haridwar, he also agreed to purchase their tickets for the whole party. And now what was left was a place of residence. And when Adi was exhausted by searching out some places, he was standing near a garden, which was, not being used. It was a neglected sort of a. And when Adi was standing near the gate, one person came and asked me, "What you want? What you are waiting for?" And when Adi told him about all these things, that man said, "You can use this place. It is my place. You can use it." And thereafter, Adi was very happy. And when the party was to arrive the next day, a whole Baba party. And when Adi went to the Dharmashala, they had a room in Dharmashala. They went to Dharmashala. Adi found that both Dr. Gani and Baba Das, they are indivisible. Gani was feeling very sick. Baba Das also was not able to move. And Adi was really helpless. Adi was also very tired. And they were very hungry, in fact. And they had no energy to beg for food because they have not to spend anything for food. Adi was also hungry. Others were also hungry. And then when Adi went out to pay for the Tonga wala, he had in his the idea came to his mind, Adi's mind, that he asked for how much he has to pay. The man said 10 rupees. Adi said, "I will give 20 rupees. But you get food for all three of us in Bhiksha." And Tongawala surprised about that. However, the Tangewala surprisingly agreed to that. He provided food and everybody started for taking rest. In the midnight, this was the second attack of heart attack that Dr. Gani got. The first heart attack was near Shirur when they started from Ahmednagar. At Shirur, the first attack was there. Baba asked Dr. Gani to sit and rest for about some little time. And thereafter, Gani became fresh and then resumed his walk. But here, midnight, Gani had another attack. He was feeling very much uneasy. He was rubbing his chest and all that. And Adi was just, we can imagine a place which is not known to you, and you are, it's a midnight, and what you are supposed to do. Adi was really much worried, and then all of a sudden he thought that he asked Dr. Gani. Dr. Gani, the only way is to remember Baba. Let Baba decide about the whole thing. And the same thing Dr. Gani said, he just prayed to Baba, kept on praying, repeating Baba's name. And what happened thereafter was that Gani was all right. within half an hour, and then he slept well. The next morning he was fresh. All the three were fresh to receive Baba party. So that is how Dr. Gani had a second heart attack there. And thereafter, Baba placed before them. Baba made to, thereafter, all that people went to Manjri Mafi. It was Manjri Mafi. Afterwards, it was called Meher Mafi, but it was Manjri Mafi then. They stayed in Prat's bungalow. Prat was some westerner. And there Baba placed before all the companions 3 plans. Plan 1, sub-clauses A, B, C. Plan 2 and Plan 3. In Plan 3, the people have to live with Baba as Baba's servants. Whatever Baba says to them, Baba tells to do, tell them to do, they have to obey Baba and remain as Baba's servants. And Plan 1C was that whoever chooses that plan, he could go and receive and go back to his family. He could take up a job, or he could do some business, earn money, whatever is expenses for his family maintenance, deducting that rest of the amount he has to give for the people who were living Plan 3. That was the arrangement. And Gani offered to take that Plan 1C. In that Plan 1C, the other 3 members were, there were in all 4 members. One was Dr. Gani, another was Adi K. Irani, third one was Anna 104, and fourth was Dr. Gani. These 4 were there to adopt this Plan 1C, and they returned to their places. On 25th of January 1951, they parted from there. Gani came to Pune. Gani resumed his meetings with Pune people, and thereafter, all the talk before going on new life, Gani used to talk much about his early days with Baba in that Butler Mullah, in that Datur Mehr Road, or in that Baba house. He was next door neighbor of Baba, and then they used to play that portion. He used to explain the first. Thereafter, in the second phase, Dr. Gani started explaining about his stay in Manzil-e-Mim, his time in Manzil-e-Mim, his practice in medicine and all that. And after he returned from New Life, Dr. Gani started speaking only about New Life. There were beautiful stories about New Life that he started telling us, and we were so very inspired by all those stories. This went on. He came and stayed in Pune, and thereafter, in the month of June 1951, on 28, 29, and 30, Baba called a meeting at Hyderabad. Baba had to declare about his irrevocable step that he was going to take. a sort of a determination, and that was very important that Baba specifically called specific people for that meeting from all over India. So many people attended that meeting. And on 28th of that month, June 51, Baba explained to all the people present there about the future plans. Baba was going to take a step of Manonash. That was to be in the Khojaguda cave. Of course, that was not decided which place, but this was decided that Baba declared that he is going to take the step of Manonash hereafter. And Baba, after explaining the whole plan of Baba, Baba asked Dr. Ghani to read some of the conditions that time about that step which he was going to take. I will just read out from the original book because it is very important. There were about 13 conditions. And this is a corollary for that God determined step. This is called God determined step. The period required for this inevitable step will be from October 16, 1951 to February 16, 1952. The step God wants me to take is one of the complete and absolute annihilation. What means that during this period of mental annihilation, I will, in the natural course of events, be facing physical annihilation as well without my actually seeking for it. Third condition is irrespective of what I was, am, and will be, God in his infinite justice will see to everything. My strongest and only advice to each one of you is to hold fast to your faith and love, at least in the same proportion as now, if not greater. Fourth, I will plunge deeply into the act of annihilation from October 16th. 5, I ask God in all humility to help me achieve the desired end by February 12th. 6, in the event of my physical death, the arrangement walas have to carry out the instructions as I have given to them. 7th clause is, I will be away from Hyderabad from October 16th. This meeting was held in Hyderabad. Sorry, I forgot to tell you about the place of meeting. It was held in Hyderabad, in the Jubilee Hill area. The present center, very big center of Baba, is situated in Jubilee Hill. I will be away from Hyderabad from October 16th to February 12th, 1952. Anyone who wants to go through this dying process with me can join me, but I will have absolute no responsibility and might have no concern whatever for anyone accompanying me. I order the servant, the 9 number, I order the servants who are with me to choose between two things: to join me in this hopeless task or to stay at Hyderabad doing whatever duty I left to them. This was plan 3, servants staying with Baba. From July 1 to February 12th, I might be available either to all, to a few, or to none. 11th condition was, even if there is only one of you accompanying me, I shall be quite pleased and satisfied And even if many choose to come with me, I will not mind. 12th, also from among those offering to come with me, I will finally decide who is to accompany me and who is to stay behind. 13, during this period of annihilation, my actions and mode of living will be free from any binding conditions. I might beg for anything, demand anything, accept anything, or reject anything, or perhaps I might do none of these things. I will do anything ordinary or extraordinary, good or bad, as the occasion may demand of me, based on the will of God for this great annihilation. Dr. Ghani also read aloud the Urdu and Hindi translations, and C.D. Deshmukh read it in Marathi. This was the meeting about the God-determined step of annihilation of mind that Baba was going to take. And in fact, no new members were selected by Baba, even though few offered to accompany Baba, but then Baba had his own choice. And thereafter, when Ghani returned from that meeting in the month of August, Ghani passed away. And Baba had issued a beautiful circular on that, on his death. I had read little portion from that circular. But then what had happened is that Baba had asked all those who were present during that meeting to fast on water for 24 hours, starting from 8 o'clock in the morning on 16th October. Baba had all those were present in this meeting. Baba had asked everyone to do this thing, to do this fast. And now there was a vacancy of Dr. Ghani because Dr. Ghani passed away just before that. And to a very, what is Baba's arrangement for Dr. Ghani, because Ghani, even though he was not present, Baba wanted his presence on 16th of October when all people will be observing fast. Baba wanted that Ghani has to be there for observing this fast. But since Ghani was not in his body, Baba appointed a proxy in his place. Baba appointed proxy in his place. I will read that portion. Those of you who were at the meeting at Hyderabad on June 28th will remember that Ghani read out the explanation to my declaration and also the declaration itself. As one of the witnesses to that declaration, he was to fast on October 16, 1951 and say a prayer on my behalf. Until February 16, 1952, I want to feel that Ghani is still in physical body. I repeat this. Until February 16th, 1952, that is on the day on which those who were present for that meeting were out to observe fast. Baba says that until that day, I want Ghani to be still in physical body. I want to feel that Ghani is still in the physical body, and I have therefore asked Gani's son-in-law Baggu, the first son of Dr. Ramju Abdullah. I asked, he was Gani's son-in-law. So I asked Gani's son Baggu, who was not present at that meeting on June 28th, to act as Gani's proxy on October 16th by fasting and saying a prayer for me. Ramju has been instructed to give Baggu so full and vivid picture of the meeting, and that he will feel himself to have been actually present at it. In this way, Gani's duty as one of the witnesses of my declaration will be fulfilled. When we read all these incidents in Gani's life, as I said, that Gani was particularly chosen for offering prayers on Baba's behalf. For all that matter, for all these active Baba's, Gani was so very important in acting or offering praise on behalf of Baba. So we can understand, we can feel that Baba's position, Gani's position in Baba's circle. Gani was childhood friend of Mere Baba. He was chum, and early period of their life was a sort of a masti together, playing and fighting and all that in that lane of Dastur Meher Road. And thereafter, there was a long absence of Dr. Gani from Pune because of his father's transfer to Calcutta and thereafter to some other foreign place. And Gani returned there from there. And thereafter, he is taking up opening a dispensary in Bombay. And therefore, he met Baba in Pune, Kasbapet, not Kasbapet, in Pune, a place called Bachu Adda. And then resuming his relations with Mer Baba, friendship with Mer Baba, I would say friendship. And thereafter, Baba never allowed Dr. Gani to settle in his life. One of his songs, Dr. Gani has expressed that twice there was a procession, Dr. Gani's procession, death procession, twice in his lifetime. Next time, when it will be the last session about Dr. Gani, I had already talked about two poems. One is composition of Khak Sahib and another composition of Dr. Gani, which we had sung before Baba in our first program in Mahabaleshwar. The first program of Baba's Bhajan Mandali, Pune Bhajan Mandali in Mahabaleshwar. These two songs I will read out the translation of these two songs, and time permits, I will sing also. If people do not mind, I will sing these two songs because that will give you the feel of that particular poetry and the feelings. But that the friendship that Baba had with Dr. Gani. For today, I think we have exactly completed our topic, today's topic, at a proper time. I would ask if there are any questions about what we have said today. We have revised today of the whole life story of Dr. Gani with Baba. We can, anyone have any question, they can ask me.
Anybody, any question can unmute themselves and ask.
Yes, I wanted to know again. So, Jai Baba Pratap.
Thank you, Jacob. Yes.
I'm very interested in how Ghani and Baba, it was very special to hear this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the whole humor of it,
Oh,
very important, the humor. But so he started on the New Life, Ghani, in October
Yes.
16th, 1949.
Yes.
Okay. And then he had one heart attack. When did he have the first heart attack?
Sorry.
Didn't Ghani have a heart attack?
Heart attack. That
Yeah.
was the first travel from Nagar to Shirur, a place, a township by name Shirur. It is about
And time
that heart attack was near Shirur.
Supe to Shirur. Walk was from Supe to Shirur.
The first stop was at Supi, and thereafter next stop was to be at Shirur. Just when came close to Shirur, Shirur is a place in Ahmednagar district, in the border of Pune and Ahmednagar district. So Shirur, he had first heart attack.
And what
thereafter,
what time was that in the New Life? What time was that?
they were walking in the afternoon.
Beginning
Yeah,
of
but
beginning.
no, I mean, what time was it in 1949 or what?
49
I'm asking-
October, the second day.
Yeah, that
17th.
the second day they were walking and he had the heart attack.
Yes, they were walking.
Oh.
They were walking towards that Shirur, and just before that, the place came. Just before that, Ghani had a heart attack. He was suffocating and he was breathing very heavily and was not able to stand even. And then Baba made him sit under a tree, rest for some time, and thereafter again they started walking. So
Okay.
it is very.
So when did he have the next heart attack?
Next heart attack was during New Life. Their stay at
In 50,
Najibabad. They stay at Najibabad, a place Najibabad in northern India. That was the place of stay during New Life, and during midnight, Ghani was not feeling well. Ghani was sent in advance for making arrangements along with Adi and Baba Das. 3 people were sent in advance for making arrangement for stay, for food, and for railway tickets. But then they were so very exhausted. Ghani and Baba Das were so very sick that they could not move out. And the whole responsibility of finding the place, finding some customer to provide for food in Bhiksha, that fell on Adi alone. And Adi had accomplished that job. And when he returned back to the Dharmashala, where these 2 people were resting, both were in a very bad condition and they were not able to move out. Food was all exhausted. Even Adi was also very hungry. He was not in a position to go out for food, for begging food, because they are not supposed to spend any amount for food. They have to beg for food. And they were in such a fix. But the Tangawala, who was a house cart, he came to help. And he, on Ajit's suggestion, he gave food. He called for food from a nearby place, hotel, for all these 3 people, and gave them in form of bhiksha.
so what year? What year during the new
The
life?
same year.
Same year, 49 still?
49 only.
Oh,
Same year. And the third attack, I will talk about next time. The
Oh.
third attack, Gani is finished thereafter. That was severe heart attack. Yes,
Because
Gani passed.
I remember
That
you
was-
said Baba really missed Ghani. It was when Ghani died during the new life, Baba really missed his presence.
Yes.
It was
I
one of the worst things about the new life that Ghani had died. I remember
Yes,
you
yes,
saying that. Yeah, very important. Yeah.
And the
Thank you.
next session will be very touching time,
Yeah.
very touching time. Gani's last days are really very touching. In fact, when even I remember when those days, they bring tears in my eyes. It's so very touching. I
Wow.
will definitely narrate the whole thing next time.
Wonderful. And I would love if you sing. The singing is wonderful. Gives the
Thank
feeling.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Yeah.
Thank you. Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba, Pratyap.
Anybody else?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Good
we
Yes.
can hear you. Yes,
Jai
we can hear
Baba,
you.
Jai Baba Pratap ji, very beautiful narration about Gani's life and a very good analysis of Islam and Sufism. And like Islam is a reverence and fanaticism, whereas Sufism is Ishke Hakiki. So Baba definitely raised the status of Sufism and gave the correct idea. And in Sufism, those great saints, Rabia, Rumi, Hafiz,
Yes.
and
Yes.
their status, we came to know that they were not just ordinary saints, but were perfect masters.
Yes.
And that's why Baba loved Qawwalis and ghazals and music, which is an important aspect of Sufism.
Aspect. Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
And
Very much
so
so.
that way, yeah. And because I attended all those Qawwalis whole night with my father was fan of
Yes.
those
Yes.
Qawwali and dargahs.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I lived near Dargah my entire life.
Is it? I
And
see.
so,
Mhm.
and they are so
It's very
powerful.
enjoying. Very much
Yeah.
enjoying. Very much
And
enjoying.
my God, even one occasion, Baba said that a boy singing and said that don't touch the boy, otherwise the one will get current. So they were so fiery and
Yes.
so
Super.
much powerful.
Yes.
So, and really it's a great story. And I want to know that at the end, whether Baggu in his proxy, whether Baggu attended the prayer, means that proxy meeting, Dr. What's Ramji Abdullah's son, whether
Yes.
Baggu attended, Acha, he attended the final, that meeting in proxy
No,
of
he didn't proxy. There was no meeting.
Acha.
They have to observe that first at their places,
Okay.
at their
Okay.
individual places.
Meeting was attended by Gandhi.
That meeting,
Yeah.
those who attended that meeting, they were to
Yeah.
observe first at their places, not in the meeting. They
Yeah.
are not called for any meeting thereafter. So
Yeah.
Baggu was proxy for Dr. Gani, and he must have observed at his place.
Oh, yeah, because he was posted at Jabalpur and I was a regular visitor to him. So I
I
know him
don't know
very
whether
well.
that was similar time. Then
No.
you have to check
Later
that
on.
what time. Later on, I see.
Later on.
Later.
Very much later. Much later. Yeah. Thank you
I
so
had a
much.
very good. I had a
Yeah.
very good interaction with Baggu also.
Oh,
He,
yeah.
he,
Yes.
he very often used to come for program there
Amar,
in
Amar
no
Tithi.
at
Mumbai.
in Mumbai at
Yeah.
Khilnani's place. Khilnani's
yeah.
place.
Sure, Juhu.
Invariably, you will come there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Chalo.
so much. Thank
Jai,
you.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba. Jai Baba. Jai Baba. So
Baba.
Ganesh ji.
Thank you. No, ji. So I think that's all. Nobody else. So yeah, that we can. Nobody else. So we can say 3 times Avatar Mere Baba ki Jai. Thank you, uncle, for this wonderful session.
Oh, wait, Patachi. It's Marilyn J. Baba.
Oh,
I'm on telephone. You can't see me. I just wanted to say thank you.
Jai
And
Baba.
I had an appointment this morning, so I'm actually in the car, and I was thanking Baba. What a
Oh.
blessing to be able to have access. Even still, I had to go out, and so I'm listening, and I can't wait till you sing. And today I was able to hear some and then not some, so I'll listen to the recording. I will listen to the recording, and I'm so happy that you're sharing all this information.
Oh.
And so many, you have no idea how many people will be looking at these recordings as well. It's a wonderful gift. So we thank you, Baba. And
we all thank Baba for all this good time with all of you.
Precious connection that we have. Of course, the most precious is with the beloved Baba, who sustains us all with his glorious love. And what can I say? Because I'm just so grateful every day, because he allows us to love him each day. Thank you so much, and to share in his love with someone, you know, Pratapji and the Baba lovers. Thank you so much.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba, everybody.
So we can.
Jai Baba. Avatar Baba.
Avatar Mere ki Jai. Anybody else? Anything? So. Okay, then everybody can now unmute themselves. We'll say 3 times Avatar Mere Baba. Avatar
Meher Baba ki Jai.
Jai.
Avatar Meher Baba
Meher Baba ki Jai.
Avatar Meher Baba
Jai.
Thank you, Pratap uncle. Thank you for this beautiful.
Thank you so much. Jai.
Thank you, Baba.
Thank you for sharing your time and yourself and your beautiful memories and stories. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
मला माहित नाही, मला वाटलं 8:30.
Come visit to Myrtle Beach someday.
Okay.
Thank you, Ganesh.
My pleasure. Little I do.
Jai
Thank you.
Baba. Thank
Jai
you.
Baba.
Jai Baba. See you soon. Bye, all.
Jai
Bye.
Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Bye, everybody.